Hey YouTube, welcome back to another video. It is Monday morning, November 28th. It's my birthday. So I'm headed over to the machine shop right now. And I'm gonna go drop off the heads and all the parts. I also grabbed those diamond billet pistons. See if he can maybe clean those up as well. And so on Google it says they open at 8. It's almost 9, so it should be there and be open by now. So I'm gonna go get this stuff dropped off and I'll give you guys another update. Alrighty y'all, so I'm over here at USAY Machine Shop. Just dropped everything off. Dropped off the heads, the diamond billet pistons, like everything, all the springs, the stainless valves. He's gonna clean everything, do a full valve job on both heads. So he said it's going to be at least a couple weeks, maybe 3 weeks. So I told him that's cool. I want to clean everything. I want to deck both surfaces of both heads, full valve job, clean the pistons, you know, just make sure everything's good to go. And we'll go from there. So I guess whenever he calls and says that they're ready to come pick up, I'll come get them in a couple weeks and give you guys another update on that. But that's going to be the update on the heads for the 06 with the stainless valves. So I guess I'm gonna run back over to the house and I'll give you guys another update once I make it home. Hey YouTube, so it's still Monday. I made it over here to the Grand Am storage. I've got the subframe with the engine and trans pulled out, and so I got this other piece of red iron, angle iron. So I'm going to use this to span across this whole section here. So I'm going to set it up there in that lip and then screw it to the actual post, to these posts. And then I've got a chain hoist I'm going to wrap around so I can lift the car up to slide this underneath and lower it back down. So, and I spoke with the with Ray, the guy that works here. He's like the maintenance guy around here. And he said he doesn't think that these pieces of red iron is going to hold the weight of the car. So I told him I would try to throw that reinforcement up there and see if I can lift the car that way. So that's the plan. So I'm about to grab this piece of red iron and see if it even spans across this whole unit here from post to post. And I'll give you guys another update here in just a minute. Alright y'all, so made a little bit of progress. I've got the chain hoist hooked up. I got it hooked up to the car. So my piece of angle iron that I had was not long enough to fit all the way across beam to beam. So what I did was I had some other scrap pieces over there. So I tried to screw them together right here, and all the screws just kept breaking off and would not stay together. There was 4 screws in that thing and all 4 of them broke. So I even knocked the broke pieces out of the holes, put more screws in, and they just don't want to tighten down. And I'm pretty sure my welder's not going to really do anything, so I didn't even mess with trying to attempt welding it with my shit welder. So I had that eyelet up there, so I just took a drill bit and drilled a hole and just got a nut and 2 washers on the bottom and 2 washers on the top and sandwiched it down around that angle iron. So it's not really like off of the stands yet. I guess it is. It's off. It's hanging. So it is working. I don't know exactly how much I really trust it, but like I said, I just need to get it up high enough so I can roll the engine and trans and everything underneath the car. I may go ahead and remove the front bumper just so it'll give me a little more clearance and I don't have to do such sketchy shit to get this back under the car. So yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. And is just remove this bumper, and then I'll continue to raise it a little bit more until I can get this thing to slide under there. And once I can get it to slide under there, it's golden from there. So I'm going to keep working on her, and I'll give you guys another update. Alright, so I got the bumper off. So this is what I'm left with. I went ahead and lifted the car just a little bit more. But man, if I move this belt and all this other crap, it looks like that'll just go right under there, no problem. So hopefully I can get this thing centered under here pretty well and kind of get it set back into place and start lowering the car back down over the subframe and engine and trans. So I'm going to, I guess, clean all the stuff off the top of this engine. I got to pull that air filter off because that's not going to be on there when it goes in. And just kind of move a few things around. And that way I can roll this thing back under here and start trying to get everything in place where it's supposed to go. So y'all give me just a few and I'll give you guys another update. Alright y'all, so the engine and the subframe is back underneath the car, under the engine bay. It's about where it needs to be to line up with the struts and everything. So what I need to do is I need to get this table out of here so that way I can start lowering the car back down and try to start getting all this stuff pieced back together. So that's my next goal. Is I got to get this little table out of here, get these jack stands out of the way, and move that power steering pump over to the other side where it's going to be, and then I can start dropping the car back down, and hopefully we can get this thing bolted in today. So y'all stay tuned. I'll give you guys another update. Alright y'all, so pretty much got the set back down over the subframe. As you tell, I'm lined up with my hole there. I'm pretty much lined up with my hole up here in the front. And it's pretty much the same on this side. Looks like I might need to come back just a tad on this side. But as I lowered it down, I have to work this brake line around everything. And it actually sits on the inside of the subframe, so I'm going to have to pull this engine mount bracket back off so it can sit down in there. And then I'm also going to have to pull this front mount from the subframe and at least lift the engine a little bit so I can snake this brake line in front of that mount. It's kind of a pain in the ass. That's like the only pain in the ass about doing this. But yeah, now I've got that whole bracket over here cut out, so it's not going to be hitting the transmission anymore. But man, I mean, overall, she's in here, she's fitting, so I'm going to keep working on it and get the subframe bolted into place. And then I can really look at everything, see how the shifter cables are going to go, and just see how everything's going to be hooking up in here. So I'm gonna keep working on it, and I'll give you guys another update here shortly. Alright y'all, so engine and trans, subframe, everything's bolted in. So now it's just trying to sort out where all this wiring goes. And I did not hook up the steering linkage. I did get it plopped back in place, but it's not hooked up to the rack. But everything cleared on the trans to that old transmission mount bracket for the automatic that I cut out. So I don't know if you can tell, but nothing is hitting the car. I've got the shifter cables hooked up. They just slid into that bracket under the exhaust and clicked in place. So I mean, everything's looking pretty good. I mean, like I said, it's still not final because I've still got to get the engine mount welded in place on this side to the subframe. I just got that one bracket just on there just to hold it up, and look, it's not even touching the subframe. So it's really not even doing anything. But I mean, overall, it's looking really good. I'm very happy with the progress so far. So I'm gonna keep working on it, and I guess here in a couple hours, I'm gonna go with my buddy Garrett. I don't know if y'all remember Garrett. He did the welding on this engine, or this transmission mount bracket for me, and so yeah, he his truck's broke down, and he's going to look at a Buick LeSabre with the 3800 NA, and he just wants me to go with them and look at it since I've worked on so many of these 3.8s. He just wants to make sure it's good and it's not rusted out and it's not going to need a shit ton of work. So I told him to let me know whenever he's going to go look at it, and I'll ride with them just to make sure everything's good to go, and he may end up buying a new car today. So, but before then, I'm going to try to get as much done as I can. There's not really too much more I can really do, except for just try to figure out how these wires are going to go, all this harness. I need to get my my throttle and cruise control cables hooked up to the throttle body, and just kind of, you know, just see how everything's going to be fitting in here. And I still got to figure out how to run this slave cylinder for the clutch. I can see the other bracket right here that grommet would just slide onto, and I was trying to make this bracket face the same way, but it's like completely, that one's sitting like this. So I don't know how it's supposed to work there, but I'm gonna figure out how that's supposed to go. It might even be upside down over here. I'm not even for sure. But I'm happy with the progress. I mean, it's fit in here. Everything's fitting so far. I'm not seeing anything hitting anything. I did take off that stock exhaust downpipe piece that I had on there, just because I don't think I'm going to be using that. So I got wires in the way. But overall, everything's fitting really nice. I've got the heater hoses are kind of on. They don't really fit correctly, so I might have to swap some heater hoses around. But other than that, everything's looking good. Everything's clearing everything. Only thing I really have to do is just get this brake line set inside of that subframe. And then the brake line will pretty much be in where it needs to be. And that'll be that. And then I've got to pull the lines off this power steering pump and hook them up to the pump that's on the engine already. And there's no way to remove it now that it's up in the car. So good luck getting that thing out. But yeah, making lots of progress. So like I said, I'm going to keep working on it, and I'll give you guys another update here shortly. Alright, you guys, so I made a little more progress, not much. I just got the knuckles bolted back into the struts, got those tightened down, got my calipers back on. I was trying to sort through all this wiring. I'm pretty sure that's just, this goes down to the O2 on the rear exhaust manifold. And then this normally goes to the shift selector on the transmission, but since it's not an automatic anymore, I'm probably going to be able just to cut these off, delete that. Actually, I think this is going to be the one that, the O2 that goes to the rear manifold, and this will probably be the one that goes down to the one after the cat. But yeah, I just got to figure out where all this wiring goes on this engine. I know these go through the firewall, through that hole right there, and go into the computer. And then this grommet seals up that hole. But I've got to figure out how all this other shit is going to route. I know this goes in the fuse box, this one goes in the fuse box, and the fuse box sits like right here. So, another thing, I don't know if this is even in correctly. And I took a picture and sent a message to Gage, asking Gage. He still hasn't seen it or replied yet. So, I don't know, I'm kind of stuck because I don't want to start getting the fuse box and all that stuff in here if I'm going to have to pull this back out and change it. So, I think I'm just going to call the progress for today a win and just leave it how it is and try to figure some more stuff out on how this clutch master goes and try to get everything routed up here where it needs to be, to where it just plugs in and it's not touching the exhaust or anything. So I just need to figure out how this runs, and then I can make some more progress on that. But for now, I don't want to mess with it anymore. I don't want to break anything or fuck anything up. But for the most part, everything's coming along. It's coming really good. I'm happy. So I did throw the fuel rail on. There's still no injectors in there because I'm still waiting for the new set of 42.5s to come in. But yeah, other than that, I've got the lines I made connect. I need to shorten them up because this return, it's a little bit longer. But I'd say the speed is probably fine with the length that it is, but the return needs to be shortened a couple inches at least. Probably at least 2, maybe 3 inches to get rid of that big hump and just make it flow with the other one. And I'll probably just zip tie them together all the way down. But yeah, lots of progress. So, engine is in there. And then, yeah, like I said, I'm still waiting on the engine mount from Gage so I can get that welded in. And that's pretty much all the progress I'm making today. So, it's almost 3. I'm still got about another hour until my buddy Garrett gets off work, and we're gonna go look at that Buick. So guess I'm just gonna start picking some stuff up and kind of get all this stuff picked up and stacked back in here and organized, and probably head to the house and I give you guys another update probably in the next few. All right, y'all. So it's Monday night. Just got home from the storage. And I got the chiller box for the 07. And then actually while I was over at the storage working on the Grand Am, my buddy Garrett texted me and asked if I would go with him to go look at that Buick. So we went and looked at the Buick, and it just needed a bunch of work. It was just a piece of shit. And so he ended up not getting it. And he was really bummed because he said he had to have a car or he wasn't going to be able to get to work because he was having to borrow a car just to go look at the Buick. And I told him it was going to need a lot of work to it, and every gasket on the engine was leaking. So I told him we would have to pull the engine and put a whole gasket kit on it. And so I ended up just selling him the 06. And he just gave me a down payment, and he's going to make me a few payments, but I'm selling it to him for $2,200 and a Snap-on code reader. So the nice one, like a $2,000 one. But I think it's a pretty good deal, and he gets a car that I know, it runs and drives. I told him I was just driving it this morning when I went and dropped off the heads and stuff at the machine shop. So, I mean, it's a good car. It hasn't been dying or anything, so he shouldn't have any issues with it, at least until summer. And, I mean, what can you do? I've done everything I can with it, and whenever that time comes, I don't know. So, But he's happy with it. The car runs and drives. He has a vehicle to get to work and back. So, and he's still welding. So he's got a job full time welding, and he just needs a vehicle to get back and forth to work. So the 06 Prix is gone. So now I have the heads at the machine shop for a car that I no longer own. Well, until it's paid for. I still own it. I still have the title until it's paid for. But yeah, so now I have heads in the machine shop for a vehicle I no longer own. So I don't know what I'm going to do with the heads, but I've already went and dropped them off, so I can't really just go tell them never mind. But I guess tomorrow after I get off work, because got to go to work tomorrow, my 5-day vacation is over. But here, either tomorrow or the next day, I'm going to be installing the ice chiller box in the 07, and I'll get that big battery out, and it'll go back into the back, and I'll take that new battery I just bought, and it'll go to the Grand Am because it needs a battery anyways. So that's the plan. So I think that's going to be it for tonight. So y'all stay tuned, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow. So yeah, I think that's going to be it for this video, you guys. So y'all like, comment, subscribe, stay tuned for the next one, and I'll catch you guys later.